A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
That's one Kansas City holiday tradition. This is another. It's our annual Year in Review edition of the program.
At this very moment, it's time to ride KC.
The controversy here is, does this upscale hotel muster up to the term blighted?
What is supposed to be quintessential family fun turned tragic for one family as a 10-year-old boy is killed in a water park slide.
And as you can imagine, this has been devastating.
Our thoughts and prayers are with the family during this difficult time.
For the second time this year, a Kansas City, Kansas police officer is shot and killed.
Thousands said goodbye to an American hero.
Rest now, brother. We'll take it from here.
I think I would choose a place like this for my last destination. And the idea does not trouble me. Because as someone of profound insight once said, nobody gets out of here alive.
We did it, guys! We did it! We did it! We did it!
Get him out of here. Get him out. Get him out.
Protests in Midtown, both inside and outside the Midland, as presidential candidate Donald Trump comes to town.
I approve this message because I'd like to see Senator Blunt do this.
Students, parents, and teachers in Kansas are waiting to find out if school will begin as scheduled this fall.
This is the first time in about 30 years that KCPS has earned the points to become a fully accredited school system.
Popular app Pokemon Go has people in Kansas City on the go.
Today was a big day in Kansas City. Royals players and other civic and community leaders broke ground on the Kansas City MLB Urban Youth Academy.
But if you can't love Kansas City right now, you never have and you never will.
Just some of the sounds and images from this past year in this place we call home. Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Nick Haynes. With us on this special holiday edition of the program, we've gathered some of the wittiest, pithy and insightful people you see around our Week in Review table over the course of the year and forced them to do something they don't normally do on this show, which is ask them to review the entire course of the year in quiz show style. Steve Kraske keeps you up to date 11 to noon, weekdays on KCUR-FM. Steve, by the way, has ranked him the best-dressed panelist on the show. He is the senior writer for The Call, Eric Wesson. She is 50% of Dana and Parks, weekdays 2 to 6 on 98.1 FM, KMBZ, Dana Wright. And whenever important weighty news is happening, you can expect to see Dave Helling nosing around as reporter, columnist and blogger for the Kansas City Star. Now, if you're not familiar with our Year in Review program, we do it in quiz show style with a series of questions that help us surgically laser in on those interesting moments and personalities of the past 12 months. And that's good for you at home because it means if there are answers that are extraordinarily tedious, we can move on quickly and only concentrate on the responses we find intriguing. So, Steve Kraske, we launch our show with multiple choice of all the stories making news in Kansas City over this last year. The story that had the greatest impact on our metro was the launch of the Kansas City streetcar? Or was it tragedy at the Schlitterbahn water park? Was it chalking up more than 120 murders, the highest number of homicides in Kansas City in 8 years? Missouri voters picking a total political outsider to be their new governor, or was it something completely different?
Well, Nick, you're asking a political guy, so I'm going to go with D, outsider Eric Greitens being elected. This will have the greatest impact maybe next year, not so much this year. Abortion, education, highways, ethics in the state capitol. This guy is poised to do make a lot of achievements here. He's got a Republican General Assembly behind him. We're going to see his name mentioned in national conversations, I think, in the years to come.
Eric, the biggest impact story for you in 2016 was blank. And
I'm going to follow Steve with politics, but I think mine was the Republican sweep of the Senate. Just everything in the state of Missouri now is Republican. Governor, state offices, everything. They just swept everything. And it's a message to Democrats. It's what you're going to have to do to connect back to your base.
Dana Wright.
That's a good point. I chose the streetcar launch in KC with a caveat. It has the greatest impact to do the greatest good right now for a select group of people. Certainly the businesses on that rail line. I went down there with my mother and we took it from Union Station to the River Market, had a blast. Not sure that we would have done that otherwise or chosen to dine where we did otherwise. The business owners on that line are, wow, what a win for them. I will say this, get me from Brookside to the Plaza. It doesn't affect enough people yet.
They've got to extend
but
it.
I think that they will. Now that we've seen what they can do with it, they have to extend it.
Dave Helling, biggest impact for you was what?
Well, I think Eric was half right, as he typically is. The Democratic wipeout in Missouri was one of the most impactful stories, but the mirror image was the change in Kansas, the wipeout really of the conservative Republicans, particularly in Johnson County in the legislature, in favor of more moderate lawmakers. Both states will have extraordinarily interesting sessions this year. Kansas really bucked the trend in other parts of the country which moved to the right. They moved more to the center in Kansas, and that will affect the way we live in the metro area.
Dana Wright, complete this sentence for us. The news story Kansas City would most like to forget in 2016 was blank.
I said the entire election season.
That's a lot to forget.
With an honorable mention to the Roy Blunt hoedown radio ad that we were all subjected to for, I don't know, 96,000 different runs. And I know we all make our money on advertising, but wow, when is it over? I'm glad it's over. I'm not making any political statements here, but I think we would all like to forget 2016.
Okay, Dave Helling.
In election years, by the way, Roy loves those checkered shirts, and then he goes back to the button now when he goes to Washington. I said the most forgettable story, Nick, was the dysfunction in the Crimes Against Children unit in the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, which was written about extensively by The Star, Ian Cummings, Glenn Rice, and Donna McGuire. Astonishing reporting about how poorly that unit pursued crimes against kids. Not only is that an injustice in and of itself, but I think it will accelerate talk of local control of the police department and more accountability. Yeah. I think that's the story Kansas City wants to try and forget.
We'd like to forget most in 2016, Steve?
Yeah, I went with the soaring homicide total in Kansas City, Missouri, Nick, 123 as of yesterday when I last checked. Here's the thing. The city had hoped a couple years ago when it recorded just 82 that that was going to be the year that turned the corner on this incredibly difficult black mark on this city year after year. KC Nova, Aim for Peace, these groups doing out-of-the-box kinds of techniques to nip violent crime in the bud. It doesn't appear to be working. We're going to hit 130 homicides this year. Kansas City's rap as one of the most violent cities in the country isn't going anywhere.
How about for you, Eric?
He looked at my sheet.
He did. I think he did.
I
noticed him doing that in the restaurant before we started the show.
Like that all the time.
But I agree. The rise in homicides, what's the solution? Basically, you put a policeman in every household, you put one in every car, put one in every street on every street corner. That's the way you're going to decrease crime.
But we even have a
Unfortunately,
police chief
you
who
can't do
says
that.
adding more police, though, is not the solution.
Well, if you put one in every household, it probably would be the solution, and that way they could nip it, or in the cars where a lot of homicides are taking place, on the street corners. Those are the kind of things. But who wants to live in a police state?
Dave Helling, a multiple choice question for you. Time magazine named President-elect Donald Trump its Person of the Year. Now, if you were picking our region's Person of the Year, who would you choose? Might it be the political novice, now Governor of Missouri, Eric Greitens? Larger-than-life Chiefs coach, Andy Reid? The streetcar rider, after all, there were 1 million of them this year. Or D, someone completely different?
Well, come on, Nick. It's always someone completely
With you
different.
it is,
I never
yes.
give the. That's exactly right. I picked the two Charleses, Charles Guswell, whose face you used in the intro there, and Charles Gray, who passed away this week. Both were incredible newsmen. They were very different. Charlie Gray was a hard-bitten, hard-scrabble, just give me the facts kind of guy. Charles Guswell was a little more relaxed, as we all know, yet both were extraordinary practitioners of our craft. They will be missed in Kansas City. They are legends for all of us to try and emulate.
Dana, who did you put down?
I can't follow that. I don't think anyone can follow that. Let's say Andy Reid until he called timeout before that kick last week.
So you actually removed him from the cover. You brought the cover back. It was like the Newsweek Hillary Clinton wins the presidency magazine, and you had to ring it back again and have another cover. All right, Steve Kraske.
You know, I say it was Donald Trump, Nick, because Donald Trump won Missouri by 19 points. If it wasn't for Donald Trump winning Missouri by that much, you wouldn't have Governor-elect Eric Greitens. Roy Blunt wouldn't be going off to a second term in Missouri. The Democrats would have won those races if Trump hadn't won so much. The big sweep in Missouri, very much attributable to Donald Trump. He's changed the landscape of the state for the next 4 years.
Okay, and he once stayed at a hotel in Kansas City, so that makes him a local figure. Yes, Eric Wesson.
I put Dr. Emmanuel Cleaver III. He is the senior pastor of St. James United Methodist Church.
Which is Emmanuel Cleaver, the congressman's son? Yes.
And earlier this year, when there was a shooting, the girl videotaped her boyfriend getting shot by the policeman, or afterwards, he called area preachers, and he called preachers around the country, and they did a prayer every night at like 10 minutes to 9 every night, and people came in, and there were hundreds of people chiming in to be a part of the prayer. And then they did a real conversation. It's probably one of the most realistic conversations on race that I've ever seen, and they partnered with Church of the Resurrection to do that. And I thought that it was meaningful. There is some follow-up to it. A lot of times we have these conversations, we do it one time and that's it, but they do have a follow-up. And I think that was a very healthy conversation on race that they had.
Well, you get the next question first too, Eric. Fill in this blank for us. The biggest winner in Kansas City this year is blank.
I'm going to say the taxpayers, as now the conversations go toward TIF and what TIF is really doing and what it shouldn't be doing. I think now people understand a little bit more about TIF and how those tax breaks break down. So I think right now the biggest winner is the taxpayers to understand what the TIF really is.
Your biggest winner, Steve?
Downtown Kansas City, Nick. I came down off of Hospital Hill going to the Star the other day and looked out over the skyline of Kansas City. It's changing in dramatic ways. One light, two light, power and light, all these buildings renovated. You can't get a place to live down there. It's a spectacular achievement, and credit Kay Barnes for having the vision a few years ago to get this done. She's changed our city for a long time to come.
Dana.
I'm going to throw in that and honorable mention the West Bottoms. If you have not been to a First Fridays in the West Bottoms or in the Crossroads Arts District, you are missing such a jewel that started just as a couple of mom and pop places selling their wares on a street corner and has grown into thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and people like me that aren't hip are now going to these hip places. Oh, I'm not hip. You got to be hip to be in one light or two light. I'm not hip. But everybody is going. People are coming from the suburbs and experiencing a part of the city that I think they never otherwise would have. And it is an amazing thing to watch.
So there's more than haunted houses at the West Bottoms, Dana.
You would love it, Nick Haynes.
All righty. Dave Helling, what would we love in your biggest winner of 2016?
Two winners. First, the guy that's retired the trophy, which is Eric Wesson's Taylor. He's like a permanent winner. And then I wrote down the streetcar. Now, we have to accept the streetcar for what it is. It isn't mass transit. It isn't a way to get people to and from work. It's a joyride. But it was a very popular joyride. It brought some spark to downtown, and on that basis, it was the biggest winner of the year.
Steve Kraske, complete this sentence, if you would, with the name of an individual, a group, an issue, or an institution. The biggest loser in Kansas City in 2016 is blank.
Man, this one's too easy, Nick. Kansas Governor Sam Brownback, a horrible year, $350 million deficit. I know he's an easy choice, and it's not something out of the box, but I don't know where else to go except to point to the failure that is the Kansas budget and state government in the state right now.
How about for you, Dave Helling?
Well, again, Kraske is wrong. He tried to get the right answer, but he missed it again. The actual answer is Chris Koster, the Democrat who ran for governor in Missouri. Had every advantage, statewide winner, attorney general, a record, endorsed by the NRA, the Farm Bureau, plenty of money, attractive guy, dynamic, and he still got smoked by a guy who not only had never held office, but never run for office before. Chris Koster, who was once a rising star in the Democratic Party, is for all intents and purposes finished now. He's the biggest loser of the year.
Dana Wright.
I went with the healthcare consumer. Our healthcare system was a mess before Obamacare, which I think did some great things. But I worry in 2017 what that landscape looks like. We obviously have a new president who's going to make some changes. We have people call into the program all the time who say, my deductible went up to $5,600 a year. The healthcare system in America is a mess. It was a mess before the president took office. It is a mess now. And what is it going to look like when someone goes into what is already not working well and tries to move some of those pieces around? I don't see how that's going to be a good thing for the consumer in 2017.
Eric.
Clay Chastain and this mass
He's retired the
transit.
trophy too, hasn't he?
Yes, oh my goodness. And here he is back again with another plan.
He said he wouldn't be.
I was a little disappointed you didn't have him as your person of the year, Eric. So.
No. The mass transit thing, I think this is unrealistic as he presents it. And because he's an engineer and he knows everything, you cannot explain, Clay, it won't work.
All righty. Dana Wright, a fill-in-the-blank question for you. The most over-reported story in 2016 was what?
Oh, Pokemon Go Away. I don't even know what it is. I don't know what it is. I didn't play it, and it was everywhere.
It's because you're not hip.
And it's because I'm not hip, apparently. And then it did, as quickly as it came upon us, went away. I don't like stuff like that.
Okay. Dave.
Well, you're hip, Dana. You're just not 12. That's the problem. My most over-reported story was Sam Brownback and Chris Kobach to the cabinet, to the Trump cabinet. Thousands of words, acres of print have been consumed with the speculation that either or both will leave Kansas and go to Washington. Wake me when it's over, and we'll know.
It still could happen.
It still could happen, but wake me when it's over.
Donald Trump. Donald Trump wiped his nose today. Donald Trump scratched his forehead today. He never really had to spend any money on the campaign trail because the news media reported every time he moved. So I think he was the most over-reported and still over-reported story in our media outlets.
Well, my answer is the flip side to what Eric just said. Hillary Rodham Clinton is going to be the next president of the United States, and Democrats were going to have a good year in Missouri. You know, we political reporters missed the boat this year. It was an ugly year for the brethren and the brothers and sisters, and we got to get some things squared away. But Hillary Rodham Clinton is not in the White House the last time I looked.
Okay, Eric, complete this sentence. The most underreported story of the year was blank.
18th and Vine is what's going to happen there. What is the plan for it? And I don't.
You think that deserved more coverage than it got?
Right, because I don't know if there is a plan. So I think it needs to be explained a lot more that there's not really a plan on what's going to be done there. It's $7 million. What are you going to do with it?
Okay, Dana.
I went with the homicide count, and here's why. I think we need to get to a place in Kansas City where we're not just covering the shooting in the inner city, which has become noise. It's become background noise.
Right.
I think we need to get to a place where we all come to the table and get to the root cause of those homicides. And domestic violence homicides, by the way, is included in that conversation. We can over-report that there's crime in the inner city all day long, but until we get a handle on why and what needs to be done to bring the numbers down, why the numbers are low in a low year, why they're higher in a high year, we're not going to get to the root of the problem. You know, every single newscast yesterday led with this police chase. There was a police chase in Leawood, and it was fascinating, and it went right through my neighborhood, and we're all talking about it. We spent 2 hours on it yesterday. Well, who did that really affect? I mean, the answer is no one. No one was hurt, no one was killed, they arrested the guy. But it goes to show you that I think we sometimes spend our time on the wrong thing as news media, and I'd like to see more reporting on the root cause of these problems in 2017.
Steve.
Well, we're all in sync here. My most underreported story, Nick, was the inability to develop the east side of Kansas City. We're talking about 18th and Vine. That's a small step. The East Division Patrol Station for the police department is a small step. But still, 2016 comes and goes with no significant private developers moving into the east side. That ties into what Dana is saying, what Eric is saying. We've got to figure that out.
Because there's no real silver bullet solution, is there, to the crime rate, Eric? And people are looking for this one answer.
Right. It's an individual choice that an individual makes at that time the crime is committed. Okay. So until we figure out a way to address that, then we'll be here talking about this for the next 20 years.
Dave Helling, your most underreported story of 2016?
I want to throw in just quickly, I think changes in mental health are important, and we don't talk enough about that. That's a huge part of the crime problem. Half the jails are filled with people who have mental problems, and that needs to be fixed. But what I wrote down was the growth of poverty in northeast Johnson County. I don't think we focus enough on how some parts of Johnson County, which everyone considers to be the golden part of Kansas City. No, there's actually, Eric, there are parts of Johnson County in the northeast area that the housing stock is old. There's just, a lot of people on reduced price lunches. It's coming to Johnson County. Johnson County needs to deal with it.
Dave Helling, our next section is called Pick a Gift. Okay, it sounds simple enough. You are responsible for giving a gift to one metro area public figure this holiday season, but who would receive that gift? And when he or she hastily breaks open the wrapping paper, what would the gift be?
Okay, my gift goes to my good friend Steve Rose, who writes for the Kansas City Star and appears from time to time on KCPT. He wrote a column a couple of weeks ago, or maybe last weekend, where he suggested we should do a new airport without a vote of the people. That would be political suicide for anyone in Kansas City to contemplate trying to get approval for the airport without the public getting a chance to weigh in. So for Steve Rose, my buddy, I got him the board game Clue.
No, he also said in that column, though, that, there might be plans then to actually have an airport in Johnson County.
And in that case, Clue will be even more important for Steve Rose, because that will not happen.
That won't happen, all righty. Dana Wright, how about your gift and to who does it go?
I said a manual, and it better be a big manual for anyone at the Kansas Regent system who is now having to figure out how to navigate the waters of guns on campuses. With a shout out to Kansas Hospital, which is a part of that system. The actual hospital that I know we're not supposed to call KU Med anymore, but I still do, now has to figure out what that looks like inside the walls of that hospital. Can staff members carry? Can you carry in the ER, in the maternity ward? When I'm in there having my baby, can you bring a gun in there? They're now having to figure out what 2017 looks like. It's going to be very costly, by the way, for the hospital to either keep all guns out with security systems in place at every single entrance and exit, or do we allow it to come into the walls of the hospital?
Steve, what gift did you have and to who did it go?
An armored truck for Governor Sam Brownback, because if he takes a cabinet post or an ambassadorship somewhere, a lot of people in that state are going to be happy to see him go. But there's another segment that will say you are giving up on a state at a time when it's in dire straits, and people are going to run him out of the state on a rail. That's what he needs.
Eric, your gift and to who?
My gift goes to Andy Reid, and my gift is a manual on how to stop playing conservative football. Throw the ball, take some chances, and how to draft a quarterback, because Kansas City just doesn't draft
He is a
quarterbacks.
long-time viewer of the show and is really looking forward to that
Andy,
manual,
how you
so
doing?
it's improved chances.
It's
Now,
in the mail.
Let's look now to the start of this brand spanking new year. Steve Kraske, complete this sentence. I don't own a crystal ball, but if I did, this is what I'd see happening in our metro in 2017.
I hate to be a downer, but I think that big general obligation bond issue the city is talking about, $800 million for infrastructure. They want to put it to a vote of the people in April. I just have a bad feeling about that thing. It's not being trotted out that effectively. Already some discord on the council about how to approach this issue, and should it be specific? Should it be more general? That thing, you need a 57% extraordinary majority to pass it. I'm not sure we're going to get there, Nick.
Eric.
Mine is the completion of the Linwood Shopping Center. We had a press conference almost 2 years ago announcing what it was going to be, and here we are 2 years later. It's not a bulldozer in the parking lot. None of the grocery store part has been torn out, and that thing has been a sore in my side for at least the past 8 years.
Dana Wright.
I'm going to add the Gateway Mission Project to that,
yes, that
we've
sounds
been talking
similar,
about
doesn't it?
that turn for 10
Yes,
years.
forever.
I'm going to say Chris Kobach goes to Washington in some capacity as part of Trump's
That's a good
cabinet, and good riddance.
Do you think that's a possibility, though, he will end up leaving?
Yeah, I do. I
Yes.
think he's on. He went for a second interview to Trump Tower just
Absolutely.
recently.
Go.
Something's going on. Yeah.
Dave
I'll
Helling.
remind my colleagues it's the most over-reported story of the year. Let's wait and see what happens. Okay. I actually agree with Dr. Kraske on the bond issue. I think it's in trouble. I think that the concept of spending money on infrastructure gets everyone excited in Kansas City, but a property tax increase that requires a supermajority for an undefined list of projects and some pushing and shoving in the council about where the money would go and when, that isn't, you know, it's going to be a problem, and it has to go on the ballot early in January so it can make it in April. I think they may decide to pull the plug and wait a little bit.
All right, next up, a lightning fast true or false round before the buzzer blows. True or false, in 2017, Sam Brownback will resign as governor of Kansas.
True.
True.
You'd believe that?
Yeah.
And he's going to take what position?
I don't know, an ambassadorship.
Okay.
I'm going to say false.
By the
He's going to
way,
the Vatican.
just so we know, it's false. He's not
It's
going
false.
anywhere.
You don't think so? All right.
No.
True or false, Congressman Kevin Yoder announces he's running for governor of Kansas.
That's true.
No, that's false.
I absolutely think we're going to see that happen. His
It's gonna
party
be
needs him.
Congresswoman Lynn
Lynn
Jenkins will be
Jenkins
the
is
GOP choice. It won't be Kevin
Now,
Yoder.
she represents the Topeka area,
That's
right?
right.
She's already
Okay.
getting ready to run for governor.
Yeah.
That's it.
Already
Slam
on true or false, on February 5th, the Chiefs win the Super Bowl
False.
at NRG Stadium in Houston.
False.
I think it's true.
Oh, come on.
Here's why I think it's
No.
true.
Because they got
it'd
a manual
Because
from
it'd be
Eric?
great if it happened, because next year you would run. Dave Helling said it would be true.
They got Eric's
They
manual
lose, whatever.
that showed them how to reverse
run
the
an
conservative
offense,
play.
yeah.
True or false, despite public objections, the Kansas City, Missouri Council greenlights a $1.2 billion single terminal design plan for KCI Airport.
True.
False.
I think it's false, but I think the pressure
Lord.
Not
All
next
to
year.
move on the airport will be extraordinary in 2017.
A couple of years down the road, maybe.
Yeah, but you talk to the leadership of the city, they're really focused on the airport. They think it really hurts business recruitment. It's just a problem top to bottom, so there'll be a real push this year. Whether the council succumbs is another issue.
Okay, we are out of time. Thank you for being such terrific guests. She's 50% of Dana and Parks, weekdays 2 to 6 on KMBZ. And keeping you up to date 11 to noon weekdays on KCUR-FM is Steve Kraske. Always on call at the Call newspaper, Eric Wesson. And from the pages of your Kansas City Star, Dave Helling. And I'm simply your host, Nick Haynes, from all of us here at KCPT, where we're decking the halls with boughs of holly. Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah.